I'm thrilled for our class of 2017. I'm so thankful and so proud of how they've played at Scott Stadium. I'm thankful for their contributions in our program, the progress, the determination, the example, just basically who they are and who they've become. And there hasn't been anything easy about this year, and they just keep playing well, doing whatever they have to do, whatever they can do, which is honoring the commitment they made at the very beginning of the season that they wanted to play, and they've demonstrated that every single week from beginning to end. Brennan Armstrong continues to be exceptional and continues to get better and better and better. And to have had the start we had without Brennan, and then obviously when he's come back, and to see where the team has gone, he certainly deserves a lot of credit. Robert and I on our offensive side of the ball, the innovation, the use of resources, the plan, the design, and the yield has also been, I think, very, very strong in terms of matching and making the best of what we have when we have it for each game. I think Boston College is a very good football team. I think they're coached well. They've demonstrated that the entire year, and I think their culture is strong. I think they're very competitive, and I think it was a great win for our program under very unique circumstances, and I'm happy for our team.
All right, we'll start our questions with Jeff White, then Hank Kurtz, then Kristen Willett.
Bronco, the defense gave up a lot of yards, especially in the passing game, but it also made a number of big plays with the sacks on their quarterback. Given how banged up that group is, what did you think of its performance tonight, particularly the front seven?
Yeah, the front seven is pretty remarkable. There's up to 6 defensive linemen that are out. 5 of the starting front 7 that we have played most of the year out. As you saw, Noah Taylor wasn't with us tonight, or Jameer Carter. And we've moved Tommy Christ back over from offense to defense. We played not only Sue, but Jordan Redmond contributed at a high level. And so they've just done a really nice job of putting the next person in. Hunter Stewart is now helping us at outside linebacker. Matt Gamm stepped up, and Elliott Brown. And so there's new faces, new names with a similar result in the front 7 that was really helpful in helping us make, or as the game went for Boston College, just to be one-dimensional. Get enough pressure on the quarterback, get enough sacks, and for us in the secondary to make just enough plays in terms of turnovers or stops to have the success we wanted.
Hey Bronco, besides the Brennan factor, what does it tell you about your team that after the 4 losses in a row, the season looked bleak, that's back, and what does it tell you about the culture you've established?
I couldn't be happier because as you know, I believe in will before skill, and they said they wanted to play, and things didn't go the way we wanted to at the beginning. And with Brennan getting hurt and with that tough stretch at the beginning, and yet they have just kept going. And everything that we do in our program, my passion is to prepare them for their lives and for the world. And it's so easy to stop when things get hard. It's easier to opt out than to opt in. And they have just opted in, and then they've stayed in. And that is powerful for, just hardships that come in life. And I'm trying to teach, and I've really worked hard to help them know how powerful it is to just keep going. And certainly having success helps that. And so, to have that happen now, and I made the same promise to this team as I made way, 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 way back when I became the head coach. And it wasn't a matter of if, but it was when. With this team, this season, that we would start to have success. And that was during that hard stretch. And I believe that, I knew that, but those words are pretty hollow until you see it, right? But they trusted, and now that that's happened again, it just is so fun to see them put that all together and realize that hard work and determination and dedication and resiliency and perseverance does matter, and it does win at the end of the day in terms of well-being and happiness.
Bronco, kind of touching on that, with the unknowns week to week, and not knowing what the postseason holds either. What what does it say about this team just to keep going on and talking about that resiliency that they've had?
Anything they do in life, that whoever gets them as their husbands or their wives, or their employers, or I don't know, any they're exemplary, right? They just keep going. They know how to do hard things. They like doing hard things. They help and support one another. They're unselfish. They're diligent, and they're hardworking, and they're being prepared in a really strong way for really anything that will come their way. And so they're gaining momentum in the pandemic, regardless of circumstances. And way back in the summer, so there were 17 weeks when they went off for spring break before we saw them again. And when they came back, one of the first things that I shared with them is that I believed is the longer this goes, the stronger we would get. And surely here it is after all this time. The longer this has been going, it just seems like we're gaining momentum, not losing momentum, regardless of circumstance. And that in and of itself is just something I felt strongly that this team, this culture, and these players would do. And I'm so happy for them to have just those moments of reward in front of the world, and to have something to show for it, at least tangibly.
Our next three questions will be from Doug Downey, David Teal, and Bennett Conlon.
So it seemed as if BC had all the momentum coming into halftime. How did you turn that around?
Man, I don't know for sure that we did truly turn it around. The outcome says that, but really just our production and making the critical plays was I think the determinant there. And then late, because we struggled making some plays on any downfield pass, right? It allowed Boston College to kind of hang in, but we were making so many plays and at the right time, especially offensively, and just enough defensively where that ended up, I think, creating the momentum that you're talking about. It's just through making the right plays at the right time. Offensively, consistently, defensively, just enough at the right time. Yep.
Bronco, Louisville and Virginia Tech earlier this season hurt Boston College pretty badly with quarterback runs. Did you suspect that Eton on the ground would be key parts of the offense tonight?
Well, it has been all year, and so there's always risk when you run the quarterback, and so there have been games down this stretch we've run Brennan less and Brennan more because of the volume of games we still had left. And so Keaton is sharing that load, which we saw again tonight and how effective that is. The bottom line is most conventional defenses aren't equipped to handle quarterback run because you're down a number. And unless there's an adjustment, it's just very difficult. And so not only is it conceptually a good idea, we just happen to have two really good players that are capable of doing that. And now as the season gets closer to the end, it allows us to do that more, as opposed to maybe 5 weeks ago where, man, because there's risk anytime you run the quarterback.
Your vantage point, did it feel like the interception sort of sparked the offense at all? It seemed like maybe those sort of led to some momentum changes in the game. Did you see it that way?
I couldn't hear you very well. Can you say that again?
Yeah, the interceptions. Do you think those were sort of turning points in terms of flipping momentum when you're able to
Oh.
make those turnovers and go down and score?
Yeah, certainly. Because we knew, well, basically a pretty simple statistic, which I'm sure you all know, is this year when we win the turnover battle, we win. We're 4-0, and when we don't, we're 0-4. And Boston College was, I think, third in the country in turnover margin, and so it had been emphasized, and we knew how important, if we could get our hands on the ball more than they could, we would be likely to have our best chance to win. So I think that added to it, not only making those plays where they were made. I think two were right down on the goal line, right, which those were big, but also in the bigger scheme of things, the value we placed on it, we knew that the potential outcome was reinforced when that happened.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up in this order. Jeff White, Hank Kurz, Ed Lane, and Steve DeShazer.
Before I ask my question, can you tell us who
Charles Snowden. I didn't know how to pay tribute to him and thank him any more than allowing him to do that in front of his peers. I acknowledge Brennan for his yardage and how he's done that back to back, and Jim told me that's a university record. But I can't thank Charles enough for his leadership, for his example, for his trust in us, and it just seemed appropriate to give him, as a defensive captain, the last chance in this stadium to do that in front of his peers. He thanked and recognized the class of 2017, and just I just thought it was the right thing to do.
I guess it's fitting that in this unusual year, it was an unusual senior day ceremony. Had you seen any of those videos beforehand, and what was that like to watch the families be able to take part in it, probably, in a more tangible way than they would?
I thought it was amazing, and so no, I hadn't seen it, and we got to the stadium early like we always do as a team, and I usually walk around the field just to get out nervous energy and anxiety and contemplate where we are and what's happening, not only in football but in life. And it just so happened that there was like the run-through of that. They were previewing those early, and so I got to see them all before they were sent, and it just made me stop and pause and to remember that there are real families supporting these kids from home, and they're wearing their jerseys, and they're proud, and they're smiling, and they're thankful, and they love their sons. And I'm not sure it's not the best way to do it ever or forever going forward. Rather than just running out and hugging, to have their families be seen at home and the sincerity and how happy they are, I thought it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had in football on a senior day, and I'm thankful for the families that have trusted me enough to send their sons here to UVA to allow them to play during COVID and to then still be smiling and supporting at the very end of this. And I'm grateful to all of the families of these players. I ask a lot in our program, and everything I do isn't always agreed with. But the intent is always to help them grow, develop, and become amazing people. And that's what I think they are. And it appeared to me just that their parents had a chance to acknowledge that one more time, and their families, which was really touching to me.
Hey, Bronco, you guys are on a different trajectory right now than where Virginia Tech is going into their game tonight. How do you feel differently about going into this game than you did before last year when you hadn't won it in 15 years?
It's hard to say. There's so many things this year that are just, it occupies all your time that you really don't have any thought capacity to even consider it. So I'm kind of transitioning right now as to, okay, how do I feel, or what's that going to be like? And kind of through the course of that rivalry, our first experience, man, we got beat by about 50, if I remember right. And then I think there was a 10-0 game, and then there was an overtime game, and then we got a win, and now here this is, which I don't even know what to call that, other than, I don't view this as now something that's informidable or like unlikely, or it just now is, a rivalry game of two teams that'll be trying to do everything they can to win. But to say that there's, I know a lot will be made of the history. I'm really not focused on the history. I'm now focusing on from this moment till then, because there's so many things to take into consideration just right now, and considering anything else will just be a waste of time and energy. And there's not a lot of that left right now, so we're gonna throw it all into just as tight a target as we can.
Coach, how much is the development, not just of guys like Brennan, but defensive players who stepped up amid injuries, no correlation to both the buy-in at the beginning of the year and the resiliency that these guys have shown amid COVID-19 and the challenges that have come from this year?
Yeah, it's just there's such a powerful message, and we have this saying that if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And so it's harder to stay ready when you're not playing, right? And you don't have a significant role. But they have known one play or two plays, or in some cases, 2 or 3 other players had to get hurt, but they were ready, right? And they're still ready. And now we're way late into the season, and here they come having their opportunity. And so one of the greatest challenges for any of us is to stay ready in the shadows, right? When there's not sunlight cast on us and our role might not be what our ideal is. But holy cow, is it powerful when called on that they are ready and have stayed ready for this entire time, kind of languishing on the sideline, but really working hard in practice. And so it's so gratifying to see those guys. And without them, we don't win, right? That's and there's so many of those stories and filling in, especially defensively. Man, it just that starting 11 today compared to our opener, man, that's an amazing thing. And so I'm proud of all those guys.
Hey, Bronco, you mentioned Brennan and his kind of a setback early in the year. Is he now at the point where you hope he might be at mid-season or at some point? And how does his impact on this team kind of compare to what Bryce did the last couple?
Yeah, I don't think I can compare, or I won't compare, but in terms of what I thought mid-season, Brennan's progression has been step by step in a positive trajectory the whole way. And so I loved the Duke game, right? I thought he did a really nice job starting, and I like Clemson better than that. And then there was 2 games where he was not able to play or finish. And then I liked the way he battled at Miami. I really did. I thought our team played better. So I was happy with him. That could he have been farther along if he played the other 2 games? Certainly. But I thought he was right on point for the circumstances, and he's met expectations at every step of the way that he's been able to through his health. So I couldn't be happier with who he is, how he's playing, his competitive and unselfish nature, and then just his production. So he's leading this team in his own way. And can you imagine being a starting quarterback and being unleashed in COVID as your kind of inaugural year? And man, he's acting like it's just another season.